Hello, YouTube. Roxy here, and you're watching RoxThoughts. I was just wondering, how can I make my trip to the grocery store just a little bit healthier?
That's a good question, Rox. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that have that same exact question. We'll take a look at some foods that make it onto my grocery list so you can compare it to the foods that are on your grocery list so that way you can make some wiser dietary choices. Alright, in this video we're going to break down my grocery list into 3 macros: fats, carbs, and proteins. And I'll explain why I choose the foods I do and what makes them better choices than some other options at the grocery store. We're going to start with carbs. Carbs are our primary source of energy for our body, and carbs can be broken down into 2 main categories: simple carbs and complex carbs. So what happens when we eat a carb? Our body breaks that down into glucose, which is pretty much a sugar that gets put into our bloodstream and carried throughout our body to the different cells, so that way they have energy to do whatever it is that they do. So once our cells have enough energy to split and divide and do their work, our body converts the glucose into glycogen. And glycogen gets stored into our muscle tissues and into our liver. And once the muscle tissues and liver have enough glycogen in them, all the rest gets put into fat cells and stored into fat cells. So basically our body is saying, here you go, fat cells, take all this extra energy and we'll use you as a backup source for whenever we need some extra energy. And the fat cells are saying, okay, just let me know when you need that energy and I'll give it to you. So going back to the carbs, there's simple carbs and complex carbs, like I said. Simple carbs have a high glycemic index.
Glycemic index? Not ahead of it.
So that means they get digested very quickly and the sugar gets absorbed into our bloodstream a lot more rapidly. And then complex carbs have a lower glycemic index and their sugar is released more steadily throughout the day. So basically when we have high blood sugar, that means that we have an insulin spike, and the insulin spike is what talks to these fat cells, and they say, not now, fat cells, you could hold on to that glycogen because we have all the energy for the cells that we need. And basically, the glycemic index is how rapidly that sugar gets absorbed into our bloodstream. So foods that have a high glycemic index, they digest quickly, they give energies to our cell right away, which is good if your cells need energy. But it could be bad because if your cells don't need that energy, you're basically putting sugar into your body that's going to get stored as fat. And then on the opposite end, the complex carbs that have the lower glycemic index that get released more steadily and gradually throughout the day, those are good because it kind of gives you like a more level blood sugar, but at the same time, if you're stacking those carbs and you constantly have sugar going throughout your body throughout the day, your body doesn't really need that, and it's going to be the same thing. It's going to turn it into fat. So you need to find what works for you, so where your blood sugar is not too high and your blood sugar is not too low. So where you have enough energy to where you can do the work that you want to do, or maybe you want to cut some fat. But here are 10 carbs that I think can make it onto your grocery list. So you'll notice the carbs that made this list are typically high in fiber, rich in vitamins, and or also a good source of protein. That's something that could also help you distinguish a good carb from a bad carb. Alright, so let's get into it. And these are in no particular order. But number 1, we have sweet potatoes. Number 2, jasmani rice. Number 3, quick oats. Number 4, black beans. Number 5, this is a great way to cut out some of the breads in your diet, is sub it with whole wheat tortillas. Make yourself a wrap rather than a sandwich. Number 6, fruit. Number 7, quinoa, which is also a great source of protein. Number 8, leafy greens. Leafy greens are so good for you. So guys, if you're not incorporating those into your diet, make sure that you get those in there because they're a great source of vitamins and other nutrients that your body needs. Number 9, green veggies. All veggies are good for you, but the green ones are typically a little bit better. And number 10, celery. Celery is like 95% water and is an excellent source of vitamin E, but we still put it underneath the carb category. And those are 10 carbs that you could put on your grocery list to make some better dietary choices. On to fats. Fats are stored energy. Here you go, buddy. Here's that energy you said you needed from before. So that's why people do like fasted cardio, because they don't have the energy from those carbohydrates. Your body uses the stored energy in your fat cells to get you through that cardiovascular workout. So fats can be broken into 3 categories: unsaturated, saturated, and trans fats. The good fats are unsaturated fats. When eaten in moderation or used to replace saturated or trans fats, they can lower cholesterol and reduce the risk of heart and cardiovascular disease. Saturated fats are next, and a lot of people categorize these as bad fats. And while they're not the greatest, I'm going to put them in an okay category, because a lot of our good protein sources are going to be linked with saturated fats. So we're going to have to intake some of those throughout our day either way. And then our bad fats are trans fats. Before I knock trans fats, there's actually a small amount of trans fats that are found naturally in the world, such as CLA, which is a body shaping support supplement, that are actually really good for you. But unfortunately, a lot of trans fats are artificially made. Fats are these long hydrocarbon chains. And when they make a trans fat artificially, what they do is they take a saturated fat, which has a cis bond, and they make that into a trans bond. And they do this so that way that food could have a longer shelf life. But a longer shelf life in the stores also means a longer shelf life in your body. So these fats take longer to digest so they could be converted into usable energy. But here's a list of 10 good fats that I put on my grocery list that you could add to yours. So getting into it, number 1, avocados. Number 2, nuts. Number 3, peanut butter. Number 4, olive oil or coconut oil. Number 5, flaxseed. Number 6, salmon. Number 7, tofu. So both salmon and tofu are a great source of omega-3s, which is a fatty acid that has been known to have benefits for your heart, brain activity, along with many other health benefits. So keep an eye out for those, because those are good fats. Alright, number 9, milk, and number 10, lean meats. Remember, with number 9 and number 10, the milk and meats, those are saturated fats. So they're not going to be the best fats you can get, but with all the other benefits that you get with them, such as like calcium, protein, vitamin A and vitamin D, they're worth putting on the list. Last but not least are proteins. Proteins are an essential building block for good nutrition. They build and repair tissue, they have all the amino acids that your body needs, and they help fuel the hemoglobin that carries oxygen throughout your body. So what makes a good protein versus a bad protein? Well, that's usually linked to the amount of fats that they have in them. You don't want to be eating high fat sources of protein, because then you're going to be eating a lot of saturated fats. You want to make sure that you get lean sources of protein in your diet. So here are 10 proteins that I think that you should put on your grocery list. Number 1, chicken breast. Number 2, lean ground beef. Number 3, tuna. Number 4, beef jerky. Number 5, egg whites. Number 6, Greek yogurt. Number 7, protein powders and protein shakes. Number 8, lean ground turkey. Number 9, steak. And number 10, salmon or other white fish. Now, while steak and salmon might not be the leanest sources of protein you can put in your body, salmon has those omega-3s, which we learned are good fats. And steak, well, steak's just good, along with being a good source of iron, zinc, and vitamin B12.
Wow, thanks Dad, that really helps. Hopefully it helped a lot of other people too. If you like this video, there's going to be a lot more coming soon, so please like and subscribe. See you later.
Pause in.
Pause in. Pause in. Break.